Previously.
How to use a toilet properly. So for his entire life, he was sitting on the rim, and he only found this out when he went.
There's used to be an old man now, I think he was kind of looking on, maybe he didn't really see the context of it. So he just saw my dad shoving me through the window.
And I know for a fact, jet fuel does not melt steel beam. Some of them want to be president. Some of them were president of America.
Yeah, we're not going to name names.
We're not going to name
A certain 43rd president whose name starts with George, ends with Bush, and in the middle is W. We're not going to say.
We're not going to say. We're not going to name any names here.
Hello, this is the In One Ear and Out the Other podcast. My name is Ro.
My name is Midge.
And you're very welcome.
Keep our eyes on the goalpost. No sleep, so we stocking up our motos. No rest for the weary till we old folks. Memories fade, but they stay taking photos. When we get the time, we gon' keep them. But till then, you know we keep reaching. Hard work is all we keep preaching. Lead by example, no, we're not leaving.
Our podcast now has a name. We're very pleased with that. It only took us 3 weeks to come up with it. So the previous one was obviously called the As Yet Untitled podcast. But so Alan Davies didn't sue us for everything we were worth. We did have to change it because his is called that as well.
So our topic today is conspiracy theories, mysteries, and whatever the other stuff.
Whatever other crap comes up along the way. Now, obviously, it's not fair to say that all conspiracy theories don't come true, because as I pointed out when we were discussing this, there used to be a conspiracy to say that the U.S. government did a coup in Iran in 1953. For anyone who doesn't know, the Iranian government at the time, the Democratic Party that was led by the Prime Minister, wanted to nationalise the oil, which was owned by British and American companies. So the what is now BP, who you'll know from the Gulf of Mexico oil spill and other great environmental things like
shady dealings.
Other environmental shady dealings. They lobbied the British government, the American government, to do a coup, and they overthrew him, and they allowed the king or the Shah to consolidate absolute power until his overthrow in 1979. Anyway, it used to be a conspiracy theory. Like, you were a fucking proper tinfoil hat merchant if you thought that was true, that the American government were involved in the coup. But 60 years later, the CIA just released documents and said, yeah, sorry lads, we did it. It happened, okay? So, conspiracy theories, some of them, it's worth giving them a chance.
Like another example is Operation Snow White.
Yeah.
Which is the infiltration of mainly the revenue, the IRS in America, and also like the CIA, Homeland Security, FBI, by the not really a church, it's more of a cult, which is Scientology.
You may remember it as that thing that made Tom Cruise go bananas.
Yeah, they say it's a religion, but like in Germany, it's not a religion; it's a cult. So we'll pretend we're German, and
Yeah,
so
it's a cult in a lot of other countries.
we
as
won't
well.
be offending anybody. I doubt any of our listeners are Scientologists.
Yeah, we're gonna lose this one guy, dislike button. Scientologists forever dislikes this, but I don't think we don't mind losing him. There's actually a lot of places where Scientology doesn't even get tax-free status because they're clearly just making loads of money. Anyway, but it used to be conspiracy theory to think that they had infiltrated a lot of the U.S. government, and it was true. Now, on the other hand, there's a lot of conspiracy theories that are fucking nonsense. Let's start off with my personal favourite, the lizard people.
Oh, I like this one as well.
This is
wait, before we discuss this,
get our tinfoil hats on here.
There we go.
Sorry.
Okay, now we're safe.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, will I close the blinds?
No, you don't need to close the blinds. I'm back. The neighbours will know.
There we go. Closed. Now nobody will know. Okay, so
the lizard
start
people.
us off.
So there was a fella. He used to be a goalkeeper in English football. His name was David Icke in the 70s. And anyway, David Icke got injured and he couldn't play anymore. So he went into football commentary, and then he went into just mainstream being a presenter for the BBC. Anyway, he was going fine in the 70s and 80s until in 1991 he went on Terry Wogan's program, wore a brightly coloured shell suit, contract suit, and said he was Jesus and the apocalypse would happen within the year. Now, as you know, since we're all still around and the apocalypse hasn't happened, his plan didn't really pan out as he'd hoped.
You know, people aren't very good at predicting the apocalypse. It's you know, kind of suspicious that they're all wrong.
yeah. So far, there hasn't been one accurate apocalypse prediction, as you can imagine. They've all been wrong. There's never been one that has been right.
There's a new one every single year. Oh no, it's going to be next year.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry lads. No, next year.
Yeah.
And that rolls around. No. 2 years. 2 years from now, I've seen the signs. They're never ever right.
Anyway,
Load of
David
bollocks.
Icke obviously got sacked off the BBC for being a lunatic, right? So what did he do? Starts writing books about how the lizard people, which are kind of this supreme species that are controlling the world, and if you're wondering why we haven't noticed the lizard people going about, or no one has ever seen them, thing is they don't live on Earth. They've a hollowed out space station in the sky, which you and I call the moon, and they're sending their mind controlling beams down from there.
And
according to him.
They also have they camouflage themselves and
Camouflage themselves. Yeah. It's pretty wacky.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's pretty much convinced that lizards are in fact controlling all of the world, and they have a secret plan for the world.
Like that Barack Obama, George Bush. Well, nah, he's just an idiot. Sorry, what's his name? The Queen, David Cameron. They're all lizards. I can guarantee you, the entire everyone who wants to be president in America is either made of cotton candy or a lizard.
Yeah,
we won't be guessing. Whoever the clown is, you can decide yourself. But there is a clown made of cotton candy, and the rest are lizards.
Yeah, that's this is the kind of very logical argument that the lizard people have come up with, and it's spectacularly fucking stupid. If I don't do say so myself,
They also think that they're all working together as the New World Order, or as you might know them, the Illuminati, or the Freemasons.
You can pretty much just insert whoever you like in there. It's just not true. Is it true that very powerful people have too much influence in the government? Yeah, yes. But they're not lizards. They're made of regular people things like we are.
There's no hollow moon up in the sky. It's just the moon, which can be explained through science.
Now, the lizard people won, and their space station on the moon does tie quite nicely into the moon landing was faked thing. So,
will I take this one?
Yeah, you can take that one.
The theory is that it's all staged. They didn't really land on the moon. It was shot in the Arizona desert or in a studio in California. They were all actors, and there are two things that everybody keeps referencing. One, that in one of the pictures there's a little C written on one of the rocks, which has been proven now, which was actually a little hair that was on the negative when they developed the picture.
Oh,
so
okay.
it just remained there. They thought it was some prop that they forgot to take it off. But if they are professionals, they don't forget to take that off. Think about it. You don't see that in other films, do you?
No. It's a bit ridiculous.
And the second part is the flag that it appears to wave. But that's because there was wires in this flag. Because NASA, the people that employed 400,000 people, the smartest people on Earth, had the foresight to see that the flag wouldn't be waving or would be upright.
Yes.
So they put wires in it to make it upright, and the fact that it waves is the force that happened when he planted in the ground.
The wires were just wobbling about a bit. Yeah. I'd say the lads took I'd say the lads took a wire coat hanger out of the space out of the lunar lander cupboard there, off one of the lads' shirts, and through the flag.
It's a very logical conclusion.
But at least, I mean, if you're willing to look past the fact that, I mean, where did the rocket go to? What, they just kind of sent it out of sight and hope it wouldn't just fall back to Earth again because it was still within the Earth's gravitational pull or something. and the fact that they seem to manage to descend from the sky
Like,
into the middle of the ocean afterwards. If you look past that, at least to a kind of a halfway fucking Egypt, the moon
but
landing.
we were there. Like, it's proven. Like, this, you might think we just taken this from the Big Bang Theory, but there's actually a mirror on the moon.
Yeah, and they're
That
firing
you can
lasers
fire
off
a
it. Yeah,
laser
and they're
at
still
it
doing
and
that.
send it back, and you measure the time, and you see it's on the moon.
Yeah, so they could.
And also that, what is it, that probe that flew around there like 2 years ago, but that has detailed pictures. You can actually see the footprints. You can see that low, like, rover car thing that they had.
Yeah.
You can see the actual ship, like, well, not the ship, the bottom.
The bottom part of it, yeah. So you can.
So it's,
But even if you're willing to look past the obvious details that poke holes in the moon landing theory, like to a halfway fucking Egypt, you could at least believe it. The flat Earth is beyond ridiculous, right?
it's literally the stupidest thing I have ever heard in my life.
The theory is, right, it started off in around the 19th century. There was some kind of pseudo-intellectual that came up with it. So they reckon it's not like in the Middle Ages when they thought the world just looked like, the map you have up in school. No. They reckon it's a kind of a disc with the North Pole in the middle and the rest of the world coming out from it. And there's a massive wall of ice around the outside of the disc, which we want to call Antarctica. And they reckon that the Bible and our senses tell us that it's flat. They haven't said much more than that. Just despite the fact that I think the Greeks worked out, didn't they?
Yeah, it was, I want to say Pythagoras, or it was one of those really famous.
But they
like,
realised that the Earth was
yes.
curved. They could.
They could measure it with like angles and stuff, and like gravity. They explain what is it? Gravity is just an illusion. It's not the disc is going up at 9.8 meters per second.
Yeah, this is the.
But if you think about it, that doesn't make sense.
No, there are a number of holes in that argument as well. But look, so even though despite the fact that the Greeks managed to figure out years and years ago that the Earth was curved, and that like people have been sailing for years and years, and they realised that even though they sailed closer to the horizon, it didn't seem to get any closer. The most definitive proof we have ever had that the Earth is round was when the crew of Ferdinand Magellan, despite the fact that he was dead at that stage, the Filipinos killed him off. They arrived back in Spain after going, west and coming back east. They're on the 8th of September 1522. So we've known for almost 500 years, like the word could have spread at this stage, that the Earth is flat.
And that all GPS is
rigged,
actually rigged, so that pilots think they're flying straight, but they're actually flying in a curve.
Yeah, I don't know why people actually go to the trouble of...
Like, it would be easier to accept that the world is round than come up with these rather ridiculous, like, suggestions.
But even for other conspiracy theories, right? Let's say 9/11 was an inside job, JFK assassination wasn't Harvey Oswald. Right, you can at least put motives to why people would do a conspiracy, why people would try and do these things. Why would they want to convince you the Earth was flat?
Do you know why it is? It's because, like, there's always going to be skeptics. People are skeptic by nature, and people just, they can't...
But like they've had 500 years to get over this.
Yeah, but like, as you were saying about 9/11 and JFK, we'll get to that later, but that people, they're too scared. They want something to explain the world. Like, they don't want to accept the fact that terrorism can happen to them. There has to be some logical explanation for them, that it has to be something. Like, something has to be doing these things. It just can't happen by chance, because they're too scared that it might happen to them, so they have to come up with something, thinking, yeah, it's definitely this.
I know, but it's
They have to accept that we're not, that the whole world isn't like when you were 4, that it's all just rainbows and things. People die in the world, and there are evil people out there.
The diagrams they've drawn of the flat Earth, It looks like, I don't know if anyone has ever read, the Terry Pratchett novels of Discworld. It looks like Discworld. And then you look that up when you go home. Right? It is straight out of a science fiction novel from 40 years ago. It's
Yeah,
just
and it's what the sun is 12 kilometers across or something like that. 12 miles across. That's how big the sun is. And
yeah. They've gone to all the trouble to think out how to explain their ludicrous theories, but they want to think backwards from something that's only taken them 10 seconds to come up with, which is the ground looks flat. The world must be flat.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Anyway, onto a slightly less ludicrous but equally as stupid conspiracy theory. 9/11 was an inside job.
Well, we both know that, for a fact, jet fuel just can't melt steel beams. We both know this. That's not be secret. But jet fuel, it's a fact. It can't melt it. It just does not burn hot enough. But you don't have to melt something to make it obsolete. There's a video recently that
guy
blew up
just
on,
proved it in 2 minutes or something.
He placed a piece of, I don't know if you've seen it. It's all over Facebook, and uni lads share this, and basically it's this guy. He puts a piece of 1/2 inch reinforced construction steel into a hole on a what they call it, an anvil.
Yeah.
And he's able to lift up the anvil using the lever effect or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
He lifts it up. Then he says, okay, now this one here has been in my furnace for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Which burns 300 degrees hotter. Only 300 degrees Fahrenheit hotter than jet fuel burns. He puts it in the exact same hole. With his tiny finger, he can bend it over.
Yeah, I know.
That's how much force it loses.
People assume that the beams went to liquid or something.
No,
they just got weak, and there was a whole bit of tower on top of them.
And the problem was first of all, the way you build something is you build the steel frame first, on which the crane sits.
Yeah, and then you put the bricks in.
Then you put the bricks and the concrete slabs and whatever it is, and then you put the windows in.
Yeah.
So what supports it the most is the outside, which is the steel.
Which they'd already put a plane through, right?
So then there's the inside, which is the elevator shafts. There's big. If you look at, there's always an outside and an inside, but that can't hold an entire how many floors are above it? It was 20 floors.
It depends. The one for the North Tower and the South Tower were different, but there's a number of side theories that are beyond stupid, people who just haven't done research and just think things. And there's one, there was one of them where the passengers stormed the front of the plane.
Yeah, and
United 93, wasn't it?
Yeah, where they
crashed in a field in Pennsylvania or something. People claim, how was none of the wreckage found? 95% of the wreckage was found. There was other bits just kind of flew
burnt
off.
up.
Burnt up. They couldn't find them. There's nothing you could do about that. 95% of it found.
Yeah, the same way
that's powerful stupid. Why are these people? I'm surprised these people don't forget to breathe. You know what I mean?
And then but I think it was actually George Bush who did it, and typical Bush, he was on that. He wanted to fly his plane. He had there was a fifth plane which nobody knew about, which he wanted to crash into the White House, but typical Bush, he ended up in a primary school in Florida.
Reading My Pet Goat.
Typical
you can
George
honestly
Bush.
tell me on that day, you can look at a man who was reading My Pet Goat and say, that man orchestrated terrorist attacks. No.
He hasn't got a clue.
He couldn't remember, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. He couldn't articulate that.
He once asked if is
our children learning? The man who came up with is our children learning?
There has been a conspiracy theory called Operation Northwoods, which was it was in the 60s. It was the head of the CIA came to JFK and said, okay, we want to start a war with Cuba to overthrow Castro, who had overthrown the dictator Batista. He was just because Castro was anti-America and Batista was very pro.
Yeah.
So basically they wanted to, first they started rumors that, they were planning something. Then, they would actually, there'd be plane hijackings. They'd sabotage, military equipment. like military bases. They'd staged terrorist attacks. First around Guantanamo Bay, then actually in like Florida or somewhere, and JFK laughed him out of the office because it was so ridiculous. They just thought there is no way. Like, why would we do why?
It's well, these guys like they don't see the real consequences of it. They just look at all these numbers at the desk in the offices in Washington or whatever. Like on paper, these invasions look like a great idea, but it's beyond ridiculous.
It
You
is
know,
pretty ridiculous.
the other 9/11 was an inside job. One was the hole in the Pentagon wasn't wide enough.
And it was like it looked like a missile.
It was no. It was 3 foot wider than it needed to be.
Yeah.
They measured it. Like people just like saw a picture and went, "Oh, that doesn't look wide enough for a plane."
And they say, "Oh, there's no wings." You know what? Wings, they're not very strong.
No,
if
the
they
wings
hit,
came off.
the wings came off. It's like as if you just put it in. They broke off. Wings aren't strong. It's only.
It wasn't
It's
designed.
only
It wasn't designed to go into Pentagon, was it? It wasn't
No.
designed to go like. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Anyway,
And then what was it? But what's that other trade tower? Like
it's
3
seven.
days later.
World Trade Center just 7.
Yeah, that
fell
was it.
down after a good
But-
while afterwards. Yeah.
Why? Like that's what most people's argument is. Like that just looked like they blew it up. It looked like they just blew that up because
Yeah,
they-
I thought
that is very strange. Like there's no debris hit that, and it just blew up.
Yeah, I see. I had always thought Trade Center 7 came down that day or something when the second tower collapsed. Difficult.
I think it was 3 days later that it came down, and there was something to do with like Saudi oil money, some like dodgy dealings. But I don't know. This is all just
Well, maybe
conspiracy theories.
I don't know. Like to have two massive skies, two of what were formerly the tallest buildings in the world,
Yeah.
fall down on like right next to you. I suspect it weakened the foundations a small bit.
Yeah, maybe it was small earth tremors. That there was actually like an earthquake, and that because there was once, remember that terrorist attack, they once tried to blow that up before in the 80s. They
Yeah.
tried to blow up that one, and there was an explosion, and they were able to they fixed it, but like a car, if you repair something, it's not going to be as strong as it was.
Yeah. No. I know.
So it might be that broke one of the it damaged the
it's difficult.
foundations,
I
and
think we
then
don't know. I don't think we know enough about
and then the
7 to.
then the vibrations, just from the actual two towers coming down, like any cracks or something that were already there, might have been made bigger, and nobody saw them because they were right at the bottom, and then just gave way.
Yeah, but I think at least people are inclined to believe 9/11 was an inside job because at least there was some kind of motive,
Yeah.
right? Whereas flat Earth, like you think people are actually conspiring just to make you think that the Earth is round. How would they make? They can make your airline flight longer or something, and you charge you more money. Yeah, it's the airlines and the ferry company. Want you to think. Oh, like that's just.
It is. It's ridiculous.
It is. It is amazing how many of these conspiracies come out of America, though. They never seem to. Apart from the BBC presenter David Icke, I thought I was Jesus. See, I think once you knew he was going to lose his mainstream credibility, you can pretty much just say whatever you want. It's he obviously he doesn't even. He said himself. I was watching. We're doing research for the show. I was watching this documentary with him this morning. I don't care about the consequences. I'm just going to say what I think. He clearly doesn't though. He's a clever guy. I don't know why. He said he thought he was Jesus, but
This guy, he sold how many millions?
I know.
of things? It's
translated
just,
into all different
it's
languages.
literally it's just a ploy.
He's just
to
trying to
make
make
money.
money. I'd say he's one of the lizard people.
Yeah, I'd say so.
He said, "Oh yeah, I just don't want to care. I don't care about the consequences. I just want to defeat the lizard people." If they really were this secret master race, we haven't a hope of defeating them at all.
No.
At all. Not at all. We're going to lose to the lizard people.
Yeah,
And people think, what is it? The lizard people had the Death Star in Star Wars as a kind of a joke that only they get because it actually looks like their little space station.
Oh really?
Oh.
Speaking of Star Wars, have you heard about the theory that we're actually in the Star Wars universe?
Ooh, this is
Because
despite the fact
that we're just, that they've just abandoned us, that we're actually in the Star Wars galaxy, and George Lucas has been visited by,
it's
by the Jedi High Council to inform us that that it isn't a huge surprise when they do eventually turn
so
up.
that old joke of your mum's so stupid she thought Star Wars was a documentary. That doesn't actually apply anymore.
Yeah,
If in fact the Jedi came down to
yeah, because we do look very similar to the quote unquote humans in that.
yeah, but they did have to use people for the film. Like it's
Is that a coincidence?
oh yeah
Nothing
yeah
is a
oh just
coincidence.
things like fat lads came up with when they were on the toilet one morning, and they had their laptop on them at the time, and that's pretty much.
You decide to Google something, and then the first thing, does jet fuel melt steel beams? And then someone you read through some forum, and someone says no because it has to melt at this much, and then I knew it.
I knew.
It's a
I only had to
conspiracy.
scroll through 700 comments. I knew it. Yeah. There was every irritating voices as well. That's and it's always there's one fella on the internet, and I highly recommend you you look him up. Alex Jones.
Alex Jones.
No, Alex Jones. Right wing nut job. There's obviously they're in plentiful supply in America, but he's a special kind of nut job. He doesn't go in for any of the mainstream right wing nut job things in America. He
Alex Jones, radio host.
yeah.
Okay.
Infowars is his radio and his TV thing.
Yeah.
He does news reports, but his news reports are exclusively about conspiracy theories. It's never about sport or politics or anything. It's just about conspiracy theories.
Oh my! I've just Googled Alex Jones, and it came up with his movies here. We have Endgame, which seems to be something about the UN.
Oh yeah,
the Obama deception.
No, wait, hold on. Agenda 21. I've forgotten about Agenda 21. Right? It's some I can't even I don't even know what Agenda 21 is actually about, but it's some minuscule UN charter that they got trying to get all the countries to sign up to. I think it's about like equal rights or so. I don't even greater cooperation and some shit anyway. The right wing conspiracy theories. In fact, some of the and we'll call them mainstream people in American politics now.
From the Tea Party.
Well, yeah, even think Agenda 21. First of all, it's a secret UN plot to take away all of the guns, which is this is priceless. You couldn't buy this stuff. And they're going to take your guns, shoot you with them, and then the New World Order will take over the world.
Oh, remember that Sandy Hook shooting?
Yeah.
Like literally, I think days after that, you could just literally the next day you could find things like people saying it was all staged, they were all actors, and it was Obama's ploy to get rid of your guns. I mean, these people need a reality check. People died. This man shot innocent, what was it, 33 children.
Yeah.
And
actually, it is worth noting George W. Bush has done more gun control than Barack Obama.
There you have it.
But he's been a blessing in disguise for the gun industry because he didn't do anything on guns, but people think he might. So ever since he was elected, there's actually been a backlog of people trying to buy ammunition in America. For most types of ammunition, the demand is so high, supply can't even begin to keep up.
Oh my!
It's that high, you know.
Like these people, these gun nuts. Like, I just do not understand them. They
see, Midge. The important thing is to remember, and I know this sounds stupid, but guns are cool. People don't care that they kill people, and if you look at what they don't really protect you either. Guns are cool, right? People think they're cool.
Sleeping with weapons of death on our bedside table.
Yeah. There's one guy. All of the gun nuts on the internet though, and they are all American. like showing them around their house. There was one guy, and he had a secret cabinet put in the mantelpiece in his front room, and you pushed up on one of it was a wood panel, and you pushed up on the panel, and the panel came down, and there was 6 handguns in there. And there was another secret cupboard in his wall, and there was a shotgun in there, and he had, an assault rifle somewhere else. This is like you could do a war with the amount of guns these guys have to go, and you can buy explosives in America as well at the internet.
You do know, like, the reason that they have these guns is like, oh, what if there's a police state? We don't want them taking over. But what's your gun gonna do? You're not a trained soldier.
Yeah, no, but you're
not like.
They haven't a hope.
Yeah.
These guys, right? Let's see what you've got, pal. You've got a couple of handguns and a Ruger 1022 rifle. Do you think that's gonna, like, if you tried to actually overthrow the government, no matter how tyrannical they got, they just drone your house,
Yes,
right?
that's what they do. The U.S. government are very, very, very powerful.
And it's not exactly like there's not as if there's a huge amount of oversight on these things, right? Your house is getting droned, you know.
Yeah, they don't care. They say you're a terrorist. They drone your house. They
Yeah.
don't give a damn.
Yeah. So like you haven't a hope on that front. So I wouldn't get too worried about like
The U.S. government trying to throw away.
taking away the guns.
They're not going to take away your guns. No way.
You wouldn't get too worried about it.
We get a reasonable. Someone like ends up. There's a big, huge shooting, and they just say, "You know what? We're getting rid of these guns. We don't give a damn what they do. Like, we don't give a damn if we don't get re-elected. We are getting rid of these guns."
They tried that in the 1990s. There was a shooting, and they passed an assault weapons ban, and a load of lads in the House of Representatives lost their seats, and it hasn't been done since.
Oh, did you ever hear about that story when they wanted to reduce the magazine size of like assault rifles from 30 to 10?
Yeah.
About the argument that they came up with. Do you remember this?
I think it was. Oh, but I can change the magazine really quickly anyway, because I'm a fucking lunatic.
No. It was, what if there's a woman?
It's always a
With
woman
her
versus rapist and mugger. That's always.
What if there's a woman with her child in a home alone, and 12 people want to take over her
Have
house?
to gun them down.
Yes, like, the way the world works is, like, they teach you this in the military. If it's 12 on 1, you run away.
Yeah.
There's no shame in running away if there's 12
You're
people
only
trying
gonna
to take
get
up.
one because it's America. They'll all have guns. No hope in
Yes.
shooting them.
So, like, if you
And
run
actually,
away, and you wait for the SWAT team to come, who are trained to use their guns, and they will shoot them for you.
Yeah, and
you
actually,
don't have in America. You don't have to shoot anybody. The police do the shooting for you.
The police do more than the first area shootings,
Yes.
as you know. But what I find amazing is they reckon a gang of 12 men would be used to rob the house of a single mother.
Yes, and they think, oh yeah, she has to defend herself. 12 men.
Is it worth a shootout in your house against 12 men?
Yeah, in the army, like, they teach you
just
run
run
away
away,
and wait for reinforcements. Take up a safe position somewhere. You go out of that house. That is their house now. It's their house now. You're not allowed there. You run away. It's their house.
So stupid. Like what? But I think it's just guns. Guns are cool, and once people kind of start using them, they just like them.
Yeah, but you're never gonna use them.
I know, but they like shooting them up at the range. The guys on the internet, they're just brilliant. Always, shooting up 2-liter bottles in their back garden. Isn't there another classic?
Oh, check out this new gun I got.
Yeah.
Like, it can shoot a target from
Makes up for the fact that my kids don't love me. Bang, 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 bang.
200 yards out. This can take out a target. When are you gonna have to shoot anyone 200 yards away with your M4?
Yeah, your fucking
assault rifle,
sniper rifle, or anything like it's
I
200
think
yards
those
away.
Those are banned. Those sniper rifles, the big, huge 50 cal
the big
ones,
long ones,
they're
yeah,
banned.
because there was guys just going in roofs shooting people.
Like, literally, you know the way in the films they have, like, they portray sniping as, the guy he's lying there and he's just like, he puts the little cross on the target's head and he shoots him and he
that's
dies.
not really
do,
how
you,
it
do you know
works.
how it works in real life?
How?
It's basically, you're there trying to not lose your target while there's a guy next to you frantically doing maths
Yeah.
to work out where to exactly pinpoint that little cross thing, how to, turn the little scope
Yeah.
so that you will hit him.
Mm.
And those 50 calories, those go through walls. You can literally, there's a target
Yeah.
behind the wall. You can shoot, it will go through the wall and hit them. Because those things, they're literally 10 centimeters long,
Yeah, there
12
was actually-
centimeters long.
There's
They are
there's
massive,
a type
those
of
bullets.
armor-piercing bullets you can still buy in the United States. You can buy these at like Walmart. I'll tell you this. I'll tell the story about my two uncles in a minute. But what do you call it? They're called cop killers because, as you can imagine, people use armor-piercing bullets to kill cops,
Oh, really?
and they couldn't ban them.
They couldn't ban them.
Couldn't ban cop
Even though
killers.
you're not allowed to shoot them. Like, you're not allowed to have any guns where you shoot them with.
No, you can. They're regular sized, but they have an armor-piercing tip on them.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the big huge
No,
ones.
so they'll go into your
Yeah.
regular rifle or anything
Okay.
to kill cops. Right? There's one purpose, and they couldn't have them banned. That's ridiculous.
So, your uncles?
Oh yeah. So, my uncle used to live in the west coast of America, and my other uncle went to visit him one time, and because it's the middle of nowhere out west, they went shooting, because it's like that's just what everyone does. You don't play golf or anything. You go shooting.
Yeah, normal people go to the driving range, they go to the
Yeah,
gun
yeah,
range.
yeah. You wouldn't go hit a few golf balls. Just get the guns out, right? So, my uncle who's living in Ireland, he says, "Yeah, we have to go to like a specialist shop for this, and it'll take a while to get all the bullets." No. We'll just go to Kmart. So into Kmart anyway. Few hundred rounds into the trolley. No IDs checked. Nothing. No bother. Hands over the money. Your man helps the boy at the desk, helps them load it into the car. Off they go. And then my other uncle was coming back in the evening. Buy a bottle of wine. Sorry, sir, I'll have to see ID there, please.
And how old was he at the time?
He would have been mid-40s at the time, I think it was.
That's ridiculous.
See, in America, they check every 1 in 4.
Ah.
So, if for a young lad, you just like wait till someone gets checked and go up right behind them, and you'll get away with it. So they'll end up checking Granny who's buying like a bottle of wine, but they won't check the fella who's buying 6 cans of cider. He looks about 12. He's getting a few packets of fags as well. Yeah, no, they don't bother with any of that stuff at all.
How have we gone from conspiracy theories to guns in America?
Well, nut jobs are nut jobs. It's the same lads shooting up places that are.
Like, the people who shooting up the place are just as good as the ones in Parliament not banning the guns. So, moving swiftly on.
Moving swiftly on. What are we moving on to now?
What do you want to do? Is there anything more you've got prepared?
Well, I was just thinking, there are certain conspiracy theories that I think definitely have an element of truth, and you can see, first of all, why there are big holes in the argument, first of all, and why was a motive to do it. 9/11, there's too many holes in the argument, but you can see there was a motive, right? Because they wanted to do the war on terror, and they were going to do it anyway, and there was battle plans drawn up for... You have to remember the original authorization for the invasion of Iraq was actually done in 1998 anyway. But things like the assassination of John F. Kennedy, and particularly the assassination of his brother, there's a huge amount of holes in that.
Yeah.
And I know you see these every year, the anniversary of the 2 assassinations, but
On history, packed between 2 episodes of my favourite show, Ancient Aliens, there is the JFK assassinations.
yeah, or it's like just after Duck Dynasty or Storage Wars, the least classy people in America swearing and hitting each other for bucket of shite that might contain like Nazi gold or something. They hope they'll sell it on at the pawnbrokers.
So, go ahead.
Okay, the JFK, first of all, was it Oswald was behind him and he was shot in the front of the head?
Yeah.
Pretty big hole in the argument, right? You know the way they always talk about the grassy knoll?
Yeah.
I always think it was someone at the grassy knoll. Now, it could have just been some lad.
It could have been 2 people and someone else.
Yeah, because it could have been someone else. Because look, it was clear the mafia wanted JFK dead, right? And there were a number of reasons for that. he had pretty much taken their support indirectly. People who are often familiar, Frank Sinatra pretty much organised some
Dodgy deals.
some dodgy deals between the mafia and John F. Kennedy's family around the time of the 1960 election. So but he had screwed them over. Particularly his brother had screwed them over. And what you call it?
They decided to shoot him.
They decided now Oswald wasn't involved with the mafia, but people had gone to him and tried to put ideas in his head. So it's very possible that other mobsters put ideas in somebody else's head,
Yeah.
and he shot him first. Now, do I think there's some ridiculous ones? There's like a 2-hour-long documentary about why it was George Bush Sr. It was actually him
What?
in the grassy knoll,
I
right,
mean,
who was, I think, very sure in Congress at this stage, right? So and
Yeah.
he's going to kill. Other people think it was Lyndon Johnson, the vice president, who, again, snuck out of the bushes, came around, went to a different state in America, and then was sworn in several minutes later. So there's probably a few
Yeah.
holes in that argument as well. But in fairness, at least Poppy Bush was actually from Texas, so you could try and expect.
Yeah.
But it's probably ridiculous. Now, the other one, I think there's more holes in the Bobby Kennedy one.
yeah.
Because
I don't know this one. Go ahead.
I can think, like, Sirhan, the guy who shot him, he was a Palestinian nationalist. Now, he had a motive to do it because Bobby Kennedy supported Israel in the 1967 war, which was a year before this stage, right?
Yeah.
So he was going to try and shoot him. Like, it's pretty clear. Now, the guy is still in jail, so he didn't gotten away with it. But he had a revolver.
Yeah.
So there was 6 shots in it. And they played back the footage of the gunshots, and there's 13 shots.
And revolvers, they're not like a magazine. They're not like a magazine where you go click and you put the other one. You have to open it up to turn them
Yeah,
out,
yeah,
and you
you-
put them in individually.
Yeah, so he only had his 6, and I think there was about a dozen shots.
Yeah.
And the angle was all wrong.
Yeah.
So I as much as Sirhan deserved to go away for attempted murder, right? It clearly wasn't him. And they figured out, because of all the fucking pandemonium at the time, so Sirhan started shooting, people were looking around. There was the policeman behind him.
Yeah.
They found out afterwards, from stuff he had said beforehand, was actually extremely anti-Bobby
Yeah.
Kennedy. Right? So,
Yeah.
they're saying it could have easily been him. In all the chaos when Sirhan was shooting, he just whipped out and shot him. So,
Yeah.
very, very difficult to know.
Well, you know, there's all those, like that film about that it couldn't have been Lee Harvey Oswald, because people say, oh, but the Secret Service guy in the front seat was sitting like perpendicular to JFK and he was in the way. But in actual fact, that's just made up for the movie. JFK was sitting right behind him, so
Yeah.
he wasn't in his way. So even Oswald did have a clear shot at him.
Yeah, but
Like, people's argument is based on a work of fiction,
yeah, now
which they've
there's-
changed around to sell movie
there's-
tickets
there's-
and DVDs.
But there's proper conspiracy theories about the Kennedy brothers' assassination. But in all fairness, there are some ridiculous ones. But the same idiots who just like to, they can't see past very, very basic things. They have to make up these. They have to work backwards in the ludicrous conclusion they've thought about. Right, before we move on to our next topic, I just need to address a couple of controversies from the last episode. First of all, yes, I did steal jokes from Family Guy. It was pointed out to me on a number of occasions. Yes, I was stealing jokes from Family Guy. Everybody else does it. I just got away. I just got caught. You're only dividing people into people who are liars and people who got caught. And there was another one about James Bond being a black man. At this stage, people are trying to relate this back to the original plot to James Bond. They have moved away from that so much at this stage. Like, they ran out of books about 20 years ago. They're pretty much just making it up as they go along. So I really don't think James Bond as a black man is the biggest dereliction from the original plot as people might actually think. It's really not the end of the world, given that, like, you know, M was a woman, Moneypenny was a black woman for a while.
She is at the moment.
Oh, she is. Yeah. So it's probably not the biggest deal in the whole world. So we're talking about mysteries now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Kind of on the same subject as conspiracy theories, but you know, maybe people haven't made so much of an explanation for them.
So the first one we're going to talk about now is Malaysian Airlines flight
70, isn't it?
370.
370 even, sorry.
The one that took off on the 8th of March 2014 and was never seen again.
Yeah.
They still don't know what happened to it. The latest report now is that that there was a power surge, and it shut off all the pilots had no control of anything in the cockpit, and the autopilot just let it off. It just it continued to fly, but they had no control over it. So it flew about for about 6 hours and crashed into the sea, and that's what they think now has happened. They knew about as much as we do now, as they did about a month afterwards, except that what is it? We found a piece of the fuselage.
Yeah.
People say people have no idea what it is. They were
It's
that created so many conspiracy
it's
theories.
so
It was
bizarre.
unbelievable.
It's like the Bermuda Triangle all over again. It's just saying that it was the lizard people is probably a logical explanation. You know, it's so wild. It's so wacky.
It's anyone's guess, really.
But I think we were talking about earlier why people come to these conclusions about who's running the world and why all these things don't make sense happen. This is the kind of stuff. Why
People they just
it's too difficult to comprehend. It's such a mystery. If anybody thinks they know, if anyone has any opinion on any of these things or why they think these mysteries happen or whatever, we are on Twitter and Facebook now.
Yeah.
And we'll get all the videos, links to videos uploaded or whatever.
And we'll link it down in the description.
Yeah. So please give us the likes, and we promise to be serious banter on those pages.
Yeah, it won't just be about the show; it'll also be jokes and
some of them
like
may or may not revolve around the 43rd President of the United States.
Well, we don't mention his name.
George, my pet goat, Bush.
Yeah. So, another mystery.
Another mystery. We got any other good mysteries?
What?
Like
Possibly.
Donald Duck. He doesn't usually wear trousers, but when he comes out of the shower, he has a towel on.
Yeah. Why?
Right? Why? This has
baffled me for years.
This is down to the think of the children merchants, right? They're happy to have Donald Duck, everything hanging out, no underpants, no trousers, no messing. But when he comes out of the shower, there's just something that offends people's sensibilities if you were not wearing a towel.
Okay, so the next mystery, the disappearance of Frederick Valentik. He was flying his one-engined airplane in South Australia in 1978, and he just disappeared. Nobody knows where he was. They never found his airplane. They never found him. He never left some sort of a suicide note. He just disappeared. There's actually a transcript of his what he said to the air traffic controller, and it is very eerie to listen to.
It's very strange.
You're gonna read it out here.
Yeah, I'm gonna read it. So Valentik starts, and then it's alternating between him and the traffic controller.
Yeah.
Is there any known traffic below 5,000 feet? No known traffic. Seems to be a large aircraft below 5,000. What type of aircraft is it? I cannot affirm. It seems to me like landing lights. The aircraft just passed over me at least 1,000 feet above. Roger, and it's a large aircraft, confirm. Unknown due to the speed it's travelling. Is there any Air Force aircraft in the vicinity? No known aircraft in the vicinity. It's approaching right now from east due towards me. It seems to me that he's playing some sort of game. He's flying over me 2-3 times at a time at speeds I cannot identify. What's your actual level? My level is 4,500. 4500. And confirm you cannot identify the aircraft. Affirmative. Roger, stand by. It's not an aircraft. Can you describe it? The aircraft. It's flying past. It's a long shape. Cannot identify more than that it has such speed. Before me now, Melbourne. And how large would the object be? Seems like it's stationary. What I'm doing now is orbiting. And the thing is just orbiting on top of me also. It's got a green light and sort of metallic. It's all shiny on the outside. It's just vanished. Would you know that kind of aircraft I've got? Is it a military aircraft? Confirm that the aircraft has just vanished. Say again. Is the aircraft still with you? Approaching on the southwest. The engine is rough idling. I've got it set at 2324. And the thing is coughing. What are your intentions? My intentions are to go to King Island, Melbourne. That strange aircraft was hovering on top of me again. It's hovering, and it's not an aircraft. It's kind of static on the microphone for a while. And he's just gone.
Yeah,
They never heard from him again.
There's scraping. It sounds like
Yeah.
metal scraping for about 17 seconds, and he was never seen again.
Yeah.
Like,
That's-
how do you
that's
explain
spooky.
this? Like, how do you explain something like
They
that?
knew there was no aircraft in the sky, and he kept telling them there was.
And there are theories saying that he was just disorientated, and he was actually flying upside down, and he was seeing this reflection off the sea. But if you fly, the first thing that happens if you turn an aircraft around, the engines turn off.
Yeah, what he was
And
saying
then
was
what-
getting
and
rough
then-
at the end anyway. But
Yeah, and then what happens is, like, it probably takes a lot of skill to fly upside down, that you don't crash and burn.
yeah.
And they say maybe he was hallucinating because there was a fuel leak. But someone like that, like, it wasn't like his speech was very, like, unrecognizable. It was just like, he sounded like he was panicked or something.
Yeah, have they got the recording of
I
it?
think there is actually a recording of it.
Yeah,
and it's
that's a serious
It's
mystery. though.
very, very, very mysterious.
Like, you could often think, was he? You know the way he keeps saying it was below him, and it was above him.
And then it went above him.
Was he
and
spinning? Like, if he was spinning and he was disoriented,
Yeah, it could have been that.
or maybe he was like your man in a film Airplane. I picked the wrong day to stop sniffing glue.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say so.
But it's
That's very,
that's
very
just wild.
eerie.
Like, if anyone has any ideas, again, don't hesitate to put them in the comments over on Facebook or Twitter or anything, because this is, it's just spooky.
We can't.
It
explain
makes you
this.
think that there's more sinister forces working in the world, or there's just mad stuff going on,
Yeah.
beyond our wildest dreams.
Like, I first saw this on the Discovery Channel had Unexplained Week, and it was on the Discovery Channel's Unexplained Files.
It's
That's where I first heard about this, but it's very, very weird.
it's absolutely wild though.
Nobody can explain this. They still have no idea what caused this. Do you have any idea?
It's baffling. Like, I can't. It's astonishing.
It is. Like,
It goes beyond conspiracy theories. There's no motive to make people
There is
disappear.
no-
There's just
nobody has any. I don't think anyone has any idea what
Okay.
happened.
we'll do a poll on Facebook, right? Do you believe it was like a UFO or aliens or something?
Yeah.
Could have been.
It could
You
have
never
been.
know.
Like,
We're-
there are.
We're probably gonna get taken away by the men in white coats for this. They'll come in, see us two with our tinfoil hats on. There's no hope for us. This is you'll hear the next podcast. Hi, I'm Ro, and this is Mitch, and live from the mental institution.
But, like,
We're on our free time at the moment, and we've got a chance to record. Dear, oh
There-
dear.
like, think about this. The world is a very, very, very large place. Like,
Yeah.
a plane is nothing.
Wait, was this off the
If you
coast
compare
of?
Off the coast of South Australia.
And they never found it.
Yeah, and on that day, there were reports of a unidentified flying object by other people, but this was after it hit newspapers, so it might be that, the way, if you really want to see something, you see it.
Yeah.
These might be hoaxes, but there was also pictures taken. Someone took a picture of the plane while it was flying,
Yeah.
and there's this weird dot on the right hand side of
Now,
the plane.
in fairness, it could be something that was on the
It
lens
could
of
be
the
something
camera.
that's on the lines. It could be. You never know, but it is very, very strange.
If you compare it to the theories, like if you compare it to the Earth is flat, or what is it, the UN are going to take away our guns and shoot us with them, it seems a bit more plausible.
It does. It does.
Anyway, that's us then, is it? Tune in, give us the like on Facebook, on Twitter. Make sure to come along for the banter.
So we'll end this episode on a quote from David Wong out of his book, John Dies at the End. Scientists talk about dark matter, the invisible, mysterious substance that occupies the space between stars. Dark matter makes up 99.9% of the universe, and they don't know what it is. Well, I do. It's apathy. That's the truth of it. Pile together everything we know and care about in the universe, and it will still be nothing more than a tiny speck in the middle of a vast black ocean of who gives a fuck.
Yeah. So if,
Sleep tight, everyone.
yeah, if that can be one lesson, just be a bit less apathetic. But be apathetic enough to be, not doing anything for about an hour so you can listen to our podcast.
Yes.
Thank you and good luck. Good luck. Merry Christmas.
Tired of screwing up, tired of going down, tired of myself, tired of this town.
Small pond, big pond, the fish are the only difference. City out of harmony, lingering on the dissonance. Fishermen wrapping up citizens with their fishing nets. Sometimes chemical, some played old imprisonment. Dissidents laughing at themselves as if they had a voice, acting like technology really gives them a better choice. Protect the borders as we stack up our elitism. Defeatism is what we pretend that we keep believing in. I'm straddling both lines, the quietest revolt. Politicians fake like they caring that we vote. Legalese verbose, cause if it's plain English, then that's ADD riddle, and riddle children might get it. And if they do, then you're fucked. When they know what's up, you might start seeing public servants dressed as little punks. No tie, no suit, they just looking for some truth. Campaign funds came from hacked ATM booths. Talking grassroots, man, they talking run and shoot. I just sit back and figure out what the fuck to do, and of course I want the loot. Everyone deserves the freedom first, trying to find a balance between callous and liberal bleeding. One hand in my pocket, one fist in the air. White guy from the suburbs, like I probably shouldn't care. But fuck this establishment, I really ain't having it. Manipulate like Machiavelli until I'm grabbing it.
I feel summer creeping in it up. I feel summer creeping in it up. I feel summer creeping in it up. Tired of this town.
Me 2-time shift gear, 6th gear, mash it till I get there. Philadelphia state of mind until I get my head clear. DMV stand up, Baltimore and what? The politics of everything suck, so just man up. Don't know what to stand for, at least I'm still upright. Even those on the down low can be uptight. Not me, I'm me, balls in my hand when I'm spitting, cause my potency's stronger than any man's. And I'm never laying down, feet are not in the sand. Only vacations we get are at the bottom of a glass. Top me off again, popping vodka for a tan. This fifth is like a time machine, a weekend in Japan. Line by line, my rhymes revealing what's inside of me. Nothing to be proud of, but at least I get it out of me. How did he trick the doctor out of a lobotomy? Whatever he's got, you'll probably be put inside a bottle. Please, FDA approval, then it fixes the economy. Rationality becomes a standard for the commonly. Less bombings and a sharp decline in who's in poverty. Suddenly the Nobel Peace Prize goes to a rhymer like
I
bang.
feel summer creeping in it up. I feel summer creeping in it up. I feel summer creeping in it up. Tired of this town.